My friend Kirk Bradshaw passed away last Friday on April 20th, 2012. So thought it would be fitting to do a little tribute video to him. Um, I remember when I first met him, I was I had asked Mrs. Sabota, Kathy Sabota, for the rest of you, my Brit Lit teacher in high school, along with my drama teacher. I had asked her a question about some plays, and she had told me, you should go ask my partner or assistant, I don't know, remember which word she used, Kirk Bradshaw, or just Kirk, about that. He knows everything about everything, so you should really go and ask. So that year, I think it must have been, yeah, it must have been my senior year. I was in drama club and also drama. I did the two plays that year. Well, I did Our Town and Guys and Dolls, which were the two performances they were putting on that year, my senior year. So since I was there anyway, I was there during rehearsals and stuff, obviously. So anyway, so during one of the I think maybe that same day, I'm assuming, or maybe it was the next day or something. But anyway, I went up and asked him. I had seen him. I think, I'm not sure if I knew that was him or not, but I saw a guy there, so I was like, okay, that's probably him. So I went up and asked. Went up and talked to him and asked him my question, which was Charlie Chaplin related, actually. Yeah, believe it or not. I know it's a shocker. And immediately right off the bat, I saw that he, was very, very nice, which I am a very shy person anyway, so I was shy talking to somebody I didn't know. And, but, especially with somebody I had no idea how he was going to be, really, But I had, he made me very at ease very quickly, and very, I think very quickly I kind of, I don't know why. I think it was, actually I don't remember why now. It was, I kind of attached myself to him very quickly, because, I was starting to get into Charlie Chaplin. I still like old movies. And, there wasn't tons of people at school I could talk to about that with. So I tried to talk to him about that kind of stuff as much as I could, and give him opinions on stuff that he'd recommended moving to him. He loaned me a VHS recording copy of it, and I watched that. We talked about that a little bit. So it was nice, and he was a guy who I wanted to get to know more because he was, very upbeat and very, funny. Even if he did reuse a lot of the same jokes a lot of the time. That's okay. My uncle does that too. Uncle Mike, if you're watching. But yeah, he was very, upbeat and very, very happy. At least to me, he seemed happy. So I thought, a big guy, because I'm a silly guy, usually pretty silly guy anyway. So I thought it'd be a cool guy to get to know. So yeah, I tried to talk to him as much as I could. Didn't always get the opportunity, and plus shyness gets in the way and stuff like that. Sometimes, even though I did talk to him, it was still new to me, so it was a bit difficult sometimes. But as the play went on, I think I talked him through Our Town, and at one point I had my biggest part. I had three kind of parts. One, the first act, I played a character who didn't say anything. It was just kind of a background character. Then the second act, I played a baseball player for had 2 lines or something. It was for 2 seconds, really. Wasn't that long. Said a few things and sat down with the other guy who played a baseball player. Anyway, then the third act, at the beginning of the third act, I played a scene with that same guy who did the other scene with me with the baseball player. I did a scene that was probably about a minute or 2 minutes long, and I had never done a play before, so I was very nervous. I wasn't doing very well with stage direction and all this stuff. It took me forever to learn stuff. I didn't write stuff down at first in the little script thing, so I had to write it out again. You know, the director got kind of mad at me. Which, you know, I'm not gonna, anyway. But, so I think knowing that I was pretty nervous and had much experience, he took me aside one day, and we sat in one of the rows when, I mean, rehearsal I think was going on, but I don't know if they were rehearsing a scene at that time because we were talking, I think, in normal voices. Anyway, we sat down and we started going over the scene. And he just, you know, gave me some tips about how to do things, how to say certain words, why maybe they have two the same words. Like at the beginning of my first line, I think as that character was, I think good afternoon, then good afternoon, I say it again, and I didn't get it because I'm a very poor interpreter of scripts in terms of what, you know, a pause means or what this means. I'm very bad with it. That's why I think I will probably, if I do more plays, I'll, you know, there'll probably be a pattern of me doing better at the end of the play instead of the beginning. Anyway, I get off topic a lot, I'm sorry. What was I? Oh, anyway, so he taught me how to say, well, if you say good afternoon, then you say it again because you're surprised. Like, good afternoon, oh, hey, there's somebody there, good afternoon. That's not how I delivered it in the thing. Anyway, so I was very appreciative for him for helping me. I was still very, very shy. I was still very nervous to do that because, you know, I'm a very self-conscious person, and, you know, I think, you know, if you're acting, if you call what I do acting, it can be, you know, you don't want to be self-conscious because that can very, very much cripple you. I was still very self-conscious. So even doing the thing with him, just by myself, well, not by myself, I was in a room, but with him, I was still very, very nervous. You know, he was helping me, which I appreciated a lot. You know, and he was, you know, I think quite supportive of me, even though he didn't always necessarily show it. He was very, very, like, one time I was upset about something, and he, you know, tried to make me feel better, you know, which is good, through a little Facebook post thing, you know, which is nice. But after the plays, I kind of lost contact with him a bit. I think I went to some of the other plays at some point at Notre Dame after I graduated, and see him a bit then, maybe talk to him a bit then. I didn't really get to talk to him that much more until, because I was worried because, you know, I didn't want to, you know, I'm always nervous about, you know, I wanted to do some stuff with him, but, you know, I was nervous. I didn't, you know, he was a former kind of teacher, and everything worked, you know, technically, in a way, I don't know, I guess in a way he worked at the school. But, yeah, I was nervous to, you know, ask him to do something again. But eventually, I think I got to know him again more through Cornstalk, because he helped the concession stands down there, and I saw him a bit down there when I started getting involved in Cornstalk. Because he would go see the plays, and I would go, you know, I'd see him every now and then. Eventually, he did stuff at the concession stand more. Eventually, I had to drop something off at his house. Oh no, I was picking something up because I loaned him a Charlie Chaplin DVD, which he had actually bought at Goodwill and then given to me, and I paid him $5-10 for it, or whatever. So I loaned him a disc for it, and I went to go get it back, I believe. And he went by his house, and you know, before I left, you know, he just said, you know, hey, you're welcome anytime to come by. And, you know, so that's when I started hanging out with him more. I didn't get to hang out with him probably as much as I wanted to. Sometimes it was just due to me being lazy and not contacting him. Sometimes it was just due to, you know, him not, you know, responding to things, you know. So it was kind of hard sometimes to contact him, and I don't like calling people. You know? And, you know, didn't always answer his texts. But, hey, I don't always either, so. At least not very quickly. Anyway, but I got to know him more through that. I got to hang out with him more at his house. Got to see his house more. Got to see his cat that he had got eventually. Watched some Mystery Science Theater, Forbidden Planet. You know, had some good laughs there. I didn't get to see him too much near the end. which, I regret not being, getting off my ass and going down to see him when I could have. But I am appreciative of his generosity, of his, him always trying to make people laugh, and him acting like he was 5. And I tend to like people adults who act like they're 5 in a good way. And always doing jokes, and always very intelligent. Again, very kind, and very nice to me and other students. And I think a lot of students really enjoyed. I don't know. I'm kind of talking out of my own ass here, but I think a lot of students probably enjoy drama club at Notre Dame or enjoy theater that much more because of Kirk. Might have even got involved because of him in the first place. But yeah, he was always very encouraging. I remember actually, one last quick story, that my last play that I did, which was Arsenic and Old Lace, I played a cop, and one of the cops in that, and well, I forget what joke it was exactly, but I think it was during this first act, and Kirk was doing the concession stand, and he was watching part of the play, that part of the play, and at one point after the show, or I think it was, or he mentioned, oh, the crowd really liked the way you delivered that line. I mean, they really laughed, and I'm paraphrasing here, and they, you really had them in the palm of your hand there, and that for a guy who, that was probably my biggest part yet, and that was still just a kind of more of a kind of small character part, but it was very encouraging for that. It made that experience. It was nice to get a compliment from him about that. Always very encouraging. But yeah, he was a guy who, he's one of the people who I know who have gone recently in the past year or two that I really wish I had gotten to know more, and that I'd gotten to know better. Sadly, I'm not, except through people who did know him. But whenever I think of theater, whenever I think of, fish hats, whenever I think of rubber chickens, whenever I think of, whenever I hear a weird, cackly, not evil cackly laugh, but happy, nice, concerned, I'm not concerned, but generous cackling laugh, I'll think of him. Whenever I think of Cornstalk, pure in Notre Dame, or pure in Notre Dame theater, whenever I think of Our Town, Guys and Dolls, blah 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 blah, all the plays I've done, I will be thinking of him. And really, I think he had a good model on life, which is really just trying to enjoy it. I think he really did. I mean, I never really asked him about it. Again, I didn't get to know him quite as much as I would have wished to, but I think he did very much enjoy life. And I think that for whoever watches this and is suffering from his loss, one, I give my heartfelt apologies for not being able to be there in person to hug you and try to help you, make you feel a little bit better by telling a stupid joke or something. But I think he would want everybody, and I think everybody who knows him well will know this, so I'm kind of preaching to the choir, but I think he would want us all to still, go on, do what we've been doing, and, keep on his legacy of being adults that act like children. I mean, we're people who, dress up in costumes and go on a stage and pretend to be other people. So in a way, we're already kind of, embracing part of our childness anyway. But yeah, I think he would want us to continue that, just enjoying our lives and really not taking ourselves too seriously, and just being kind and generous to those around us and being as supportive as we can. So, that all being said, guys, I miss you. I'm gonna miss you, buddy. And as a further kind of tribute to him, I made this following video, which I hope you will like, and I hope does him justice. The story, but part of the story behind it is that the last time I saw him, I believe, was at the Cornstalk Award dinner banquet thingy. Actually, quite a few months ago. Actually, I don't know if I did see him after that, but I think I would have. But anyway, I believe the last time I saw him was at the Cornstalk Award banquet, and he was playing piano there. And one of the songs that I requested him if he could play during the beginning before the stuff really started was "Smile," which has its origins in a Charlie Chaplin movie, Modern Times, and which was later had lyrics put to it years later by Nat King Cole. I believe it was him. Anyway, he sung the version of it that I'm going to show. So he did play it, and he could play it. So I thought, since my first interaction of him was because of something having to do with Charlie Chaplin, and one of my last, if not my last, interaction with him had something to do, not entirely with Charlie Chaplin, but Charlie Chaplin was brought up that day. And since I like the song a lot, I thought I would show it as really, I think, something that really fits him and really fits his life. So, again, sorry I can't be there in person, but I hope this makes you feel just maybe, hopefully, a little bit better and does justice to him.